Hello to everyone, and a very warm welcome to another 320 Sim Pilot stream. And I hope you all enjoyed the special edition of the theme tune that we have on the channel. That was by Fly24, who does show up in the stream sometimes. I often link the outro music, and it's available on the Discord. And if you put in into the Streamlab commands, it will come up with the exclamation mark music, and you'll get a link to that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. It was recorded especially for our 26,000 subscriber mark, and a bit of an improv on the theme that we use. I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you very much for coming along to the stream today. Something slightly different, or I say slightly different. We've done it once before, but today we're not doing any Airbus flying. We'll be just cruising around, enjoying the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator in one of the general aviation aircraft. And of course, you are all very welcome to join along if you fancy it. So, jumping into the chat, hello to Raz3 Raid, MA, Ted Striker, Matthew, Tango Delta, a long-time viewer, Richard V. Thanks for coming along to moderate. Turtle Kayak as well, Michael. I hope you guys all enjoyed the music, those of you who are sitting there a little bit early for the stream. Simfly UK, glad you enjoying the music. Yeah, I think it's a great piece to have there. We are going to be setting off from Lima Golf Alpha Victor, which is the new or current Athens International Airport. So I'll certainly be talking about the different airports and some of the things that we'll see over Athens, a little like I did in Venice, so you can expect lots of pointless Wikipedia facts to be thrown at you as we go. I do apologise if I miss any questions in the chat. These group flights, they're quite busy, and I'm also unfamiliar with the aeroplane, so I struggle a bit. But as usual, if you want to ask any questions, of course, go ahead. DG27, good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Matteo, thanks for coming along and moderating again. Mars Corbin, hello. Mr. Espresso, good to see you this evening. Slightly later start time, and we are in. So just a few details. Let me just move the camera around, and hopefully this works. I do struggle sometimes. As you can see, here's the group. We are on the West Europe server. That's where Flight Simulator has always put me, but for some reason today it automatically assigned me to North Europe. So you may find, if you're in the UK, that it's done the same for you, because of course, just as we were about to set up our flight, the update was released, and there was a sudden panic as we all try and download the update in time. I don't think it's changed much about our Cub, but it does seem to have changed the graphics, so I've turned off the motion blur, and we'll talk about some of the updates that seem to be listed as we go. I think it's also increased the speed of my camera panning and zooming, so let's see if we can get that back to normal. No, 0%. It's I still find it too fast. I wish they did a slower one for that, but there we go. So I am in the Cub X Crafter. If you'd like to fly along, that is what I'll be using, but you can use whatever you want. Last time we were in this Lynn Savage Cub, which was great. It has the slowest speed of all of them, I think, or certainly close to, but it's only included in certain versions, so I wanted to use an airplane that we could all use. Also, this one has a bit of speed to it, so we can get ourselves up to Skiathos, because that's the plan. We're going to fly around from here, go over, look at Athens, and then head up to Skiathos just for a bit of fun. Yes, Papa, thanks for coming along as well, and as they say, it's server West Europe. Right, yeah, lots to talk about today. So Kevin can't see us. Make sure as well, if you are trying to join in, make sure you have your settings for the multiplayer set to all. So there's live and then there's all. So we are using all, because if you use live, that's supposed to be, I think, for people who are trying to do things a little bit correctly and follow procedures, and we won't be. So we'll be making a mess of things, and I don't want to upset or frustrate people who are trying to fly properly. Now, I'm surprised to see a Beechcraft aircraft there that we don't have. Or is it as a PC9 maybe? But yeah, I did tell it not to use generic models, but it seems to have decided it will anyway. I mean, goodness knows what changed in the update. So yeah, let me just check. We are on the server. I think we're on West Europe. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we are. Right. Let's jump into the flight deck, or cockpit, as we should say, and start up. We are cold and dark currently. I'm going to talk about this airplane as we go as well. But the magic is, with Flight Simulator, something I do like for their general aviation planes is this little checklist. So parking brake set. It is fuel selector to the fullest tank. Now I do struggle with this. I think they should both be evenly set. So I think left and right is fine. So let's go with the left, tick that, and then we'll go ahead and start the engine. So people had to go out of the world map and back in after switching server. Maybe that's what you need to do. Simflyer UK is going to be a bit late. That's okay, Simflyer. If you want to join later because you're still updating, for anybody, you can simply click on my picture, I think, once we're going and just spawn on top of us. We'll all be on the map as long as you're on the right server. Right. Now, this is quite a fancy flight deck. It's much more equipped, shall we say, than the last aircraft we flew. So I think it should be quite good fun, and it certainly even has an autopilot. Incredibly, I did look this airplane up online, and you can buy them for $333,000 US. And I imagine, I don't know that if that includes tax. I imagine not, but yeah, they are well equipped for the money. Right, battery switch is going to go on. Now let's make sure we get the right one. We got the master. It's probably that one. That goes on. Tick. Mixture to rich. Typical for starting. That would be. Now we're running on the battery. We don't want to spend too long without the engine off. Ignition switch is on. So that is going to be ignition left hand, ignition right hand. So those are now on. Alternator field on. Makes sense. Propeller speed lever to max RPM. Let's get that to max. This is all pretty standard for how you start a piston engine with a variable propeller. Open the throttle a bit so it can have some fuel. Starter engaged. So we'll take a look. Let me, oh no, don't want that page. See, it's got a touch panel, which is something I'm not used to, and I do struggle with. There we go. Right, looking pretty clear all around us. We've got our colleagues, people coming along for the flight around, so there we go. Everyone seems to have given space. So we'll do our clear prop. And let's get that started going. Okay. Oh. And there we go. Up and running. Hopefully the audio levels are okay for you guys. Do let me know if they're not. Right. Hello Swappy S, thanks for coming along. I know it's late for Swappy, but hopefully they're okay. They'll make it for the maybe the takeoff anyway. Let's get rid of that screen. Back, there we go. Okay, started, we've done. Throttle adjust to 1000 RPM. What have we got? 660. So we'll just give it a little more juice. Piston engines don't like idling at full idle on the ground. You typically have to leave the throttle slightly open. Otherwise, they sit there sort of rattling around. Now, as ever, I have sensitivity issues with Microsoft Flight Simulator, so let's see if I can get that roughly close to 1000. Oil pressure check. That's got the oil pressure 71. Seems to be in the green, and the temperature is warming up nicely. There we go. After starting engine, lights as required. Well, let's have the whole lot. Did I miss avionics? I feel like that should be on. Let's have that on. And strobe on, nav on. Landing lights on, and let's have it pulsing because you want to have as many people seeing us as possible in our small aircraft always. Avionics master, oh, there it is, on, and parking brake release, and that's us ready to go. That's the end of the checklist. Isn't that nice and easy? And yeah, this is ridiculous. A touchscreen on here, I've never seen that. That's amazing. Really nice. Good evening, Peter. I hope you enjoy the stream. Right, there we go. So let's get ourselves back into the proper position. I can see Matteo Chewy flying over there. A few names I recognise. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over. We're going to fly initially. I should bring up the VFR charts. Oh, struggling to keep that throttle lever in the right place. We're going to take off. I'm going to taxi us up to take off on 21 left, and we won't even use half the runway. We'll just go up to one of these taxiways, then get ourselves down here and right around past the old airport, have a look at Athens and the old airport, head back, touch and go, and then up towards Skiathos. That's the plan for today, guys, okay? So let's get ourselves underway. So I'm going to go left out of here. Right, now I'm hoping this is a little bit easier to taxi than the last aircraft we used, which needed a lot of power to even get it moving along, and then it would try and get airborne. So there's brakes released, and off we go. Now, I know they've just updated the sensitivity. I was hoping I could turn down the sensitivity of the rudder because, as usual, I think this is too grippy. You can't taxi airplanes with the sort of speed that this simulator lets you do, but there we go. Right, now, I know that, tail dragger planes, you see them often weaving around. Oh, we've got some Pitts specials with us, excellent. So you see him doing this as the pilots look out left and right to check it's all clear ahead. I certainly see Spitfires and things like that doing that, so I'm assuming that's a valid technique if I don't hit Tango Delta. And of course, we would need to keep pulling up on the elevator to keep that tail down. There's a great video online on YouTube, some of you may have seen it, of a bush pilot, and what he does is he lands and keeps the tail off the ground by holding the nose down, and that way the tail wheel never comes down and sort of taxis around like that. I don't know why, maybe it helps when you're on that sort of terrain, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. I've got one stage of flap out, I think. Oh, and there's a crash. That's not good. Oof, that was lucky. I thought that was going to be the end of things there. But yeah, it's we'll keep it. I'll keep it simple. I'll just keep that tail on the ground for me today. So how many have we got with us? Yeah, pretty reasonable sized group. Thank you all for coming along for the stream. I'm glad you've all made it and managed to get the update in time. I couldn't believe it that they put the update out. I checked this earlier today several times, and then lo and behold, as soon as it's the last hour to go, an 7 and a bit gigabyte update appears. But here we are. Thanks for making it. George's FS videos, hello. Recently joined the Discord, I saw you there, so thanks for coming along. Ashish Ajit says thanks for the tutorials. You're very welcome. I'm glad they've been helpful for you. Thanks for coming along to watch today. And we've got Raspberry Rage doing a flight from Gatwick. Excellent. Minty Aviation. Yeah, I recognise Minty Aviation from it's been here since about 500 subs. Yeah, thanks for coming along again today. Yeah, the channel had we had quite a big amount of growth, particularly around obviously the launch of Microsoft Flight Simulator. We have plenty of traffic today, don't we? Yeah, Sim is still working, Swappy. We're doing well. Look at this. I have generic models turned off, like I said, so we should see all the right airplanes, but I know that can impact the performance, so we shall see. No one's come along in an Airbus today. Last time they did, which was expected. Why so Google didn't get an update? Maybe if you already had the simulator running, the update will come later and you don't have to worry. But it did stop me from launching earlier. Right, let's see where we're sitting. I think we'll take, let's go for the next high speed on the right. Just give us room to all form up. Now, in terms of weather, what have we got? So I have it set to live weather, as you can see, and about 8:10 UTC, 6:10 UTC, 8:10 in the morning for Athens. I'm actually just going to progress that on to get a bit more light in. So it's going to be 10 o'clock local, roughly, is what I'm going to set the time to, just so you guys, if you fancy doing the same. But you can do whatever you want because, yeah, it's just a bit of fun. It's live weather. I've been seeing some thunderstorms around, so it looks like it's okay. Athens is over that direction. I think it'll be fine for us today. But over there, some more building-style clouds, definitely. And I've been hearing the lightning. Right, one notch of flaps. Hopefully that doesn't crash the sim again. There we go. And what we're going to do today, which I forgot to do last time. Well, first of all, let's get the Q&H set. So I press B. And here we go. Bobbling around. What we're going to do is get onto the runway and do our power checks, which I skipped last time. I'll just do some rough idea of what they are. White Eagle is yeah, leading the way there. We'll go left, give ourselves as much room on the runway as possible. Looks pretty quiet all around, which is good. We're not interrupting anyone's flying. Yeah, we might swap to sunrise or sunset swappy later on as we get into the scenery areas, definitely. I seem to be cruising along here. I don't know why the bonanzas show up like that. I've had that happened last time, and I thought this time I'd solved it by choosing an airplane we all had, but it seems not. Okay, I'm not sure where the wind is coming from. We may be taking off with a bit of a tailwind here. I'm sure no issue for these fine bush planes. All right, I'll take myself around to the right. Let everyone get themselves in position. Fantastic. Okay, I'll roll forward a bit. Excellent. Yeah, we got the all the tail dragging bonanzas again. Very odd. I don't know what causes that. Right, let's bring it to a stop. Let's do some sort of general aviation style things. Parking brake on. Now what do we typically do? Well, I'm sure lots of you guys know it's going to be some sort of power check. So I'm going to hold back stick and then I'm just going to rev the engine. It seems like a normal thing to do. I know plenty of you will know more than me on this. You don't have to go full power usually, but some sort of high power. And then we're going to check that the propeller actually works. So I'll go to the VFR chart. Let's drag that down and watch the RPM fall, just to stress the propeller. There we go. So that's working fine. That's all warmed up. And where are the ignition? So if I do the magnetos, which is what I'm assuming means by ignition, we'll see the RPM drop for one side and drop for the other, which means we know they are working, which is great. And that's probably good enough for us today. Temperatures are all good. Everything else is in the green. Right. There we go. Oh, we've got caravan. Excellent. A couple of caravans. And still, I still don't know what this mighty mackerel. If you're in the chat, let us know what you're flying. I'm not sure how we ended up with that. But there we go. Right. Time to go, I think. So hopefully everyone's ready. I'm releasing the brakes. I'm going to start rolling forward. I won't do anything full throttle just to give you guys a chance to catch up. But I may end up charging through a few of you here. Alright. Takeoff thrust. Is everything still in the green? Try and keep it straight. Let the tail rise. I have no idea if that's right for these aircraft, but I think it is. 60 knots. Seems about right. Let's get in the air. There we go. Trim it for about 70. I did write down the best rate of climb speed in this thing, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, a bit of a light crosswind. Good. That wasn't too dangerous. Bit of a tailwind, but nothing too severe. Now I've chosen this airplane because we have a bit more speed than last time, which will just help us get away. Often in busy airports like this, there'll be some sort of VFR procedure. I don't know what Athens has, but they want you to get out of the way of the runway because you're just causing problems for the jet traffic. So let's turn right to get ourselves towards Athens. I will eventually use the autopilot, especially as we fly up to Skiathos, but for now we're just going to cruise around, so I hope it's not too difficult for you guys to follow along. Let's bring the flaps in, which I like this big handle here. There we go. No slats on this airplane that I can see. Doesn't seem to think it needs them. Now I would like to get the lighting improved a bit in here, so let's see if we can do that. Probably climb to 2,000 feet initially. We'll get lower when we get over to Athens. And I did find the lights switch earlier today for the interior, and now I've lost it again. Where was it? I think it's all here. These dimmers and things. There we go. Now you guys hopefully at home can actually see that. Right, how are we doing? Excellent. I might have to start turning off the name tags, but I quite like seeing who's where. Right, we said 2,000 feet, so let's do it. Attitude power trim when we level off at the top of a climb. So we'll get to 2,000. Ollie's in Crete at the moment. I hope you're enjoying Crete. Yeah, very jealous. It still looks lovely. If I can find a temperature sensor in here, I'll work out what the temperature is in Athens at the moment. But I think it's plenty warm enough to be on holiday in Greece still. Wonder if we can set... Yeah, we might try setting the bug. You might struggle in the caravan, but when we accelerate, I think the caravan will be plenty able to slow down with us. Right, so we lower the nose, attitude. Oh, when we actually reach 2,000. It's still incredibly sensitive. I am going to be fiddling with the sensitivities even more. So there's the attitude. I don't know what attitude it needs. Hold it there. Then set cruise power. So just bring that manifold down a bit. Again, I'm not sure what I'm aiming for. And now we trim it out. So I just stick in the forward trim. And I can, of course, cheat and just put the autopilot in, which is a $7,000 option, I think, for this model. Because you can actually go to the Cub Crafter website if you fancy, and you can design yourself one of these just like you were designing a car. It's amazing. Yeah, the pitch is just so sensitive. Right, let's bring that power back. And now we're here. We're not very high. Take the mixture back a little bit. Take the RPM back a little bit. I don't want that. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that's slow enough. So we're heading out now. This is the obviously the new international airport, and approaching this airport it's a nice approach. You can see all these hills on final approach, so you actually get quite interesting radio altimeter callouts because it will make it look like you're much closer to the ground, and you are close to the ground, but it will make it look like you're getting really close to the to the runways, but actually the ground all drops away from you, and you get to approach in over the bay. Over here we have the island of Aegina, depends how it's pronounced, but yeah, that's lovely. You can get ferries out to there, which I'll show you the port for, where you'll get to go and sit on the beaches, enjoy the tavernas, and get yourself some pistachio cream where they make it, and butter and all things like that, which is absolutely delicious. Okay, looks like Streamlabs has come alive, so that's good to know. Leo is okay. We're heading towards the centre of Athens at the moment. If I can sort out this thing, there we go, with its touchscreen. Doesn't let me zoom in though. It's not that clever. Still accelerating there. 2.3 we've ended up at. Sure, that's fine. VFR. We don't do much VFR flying in here. We're going to get ourselves around these hills. I do like the turbulence from the hills in Flight Simulator. There's the group. Did we find out what aircraft people were using? I wonder. Hello to Pate Laros. Thanks for coming along. There we go. Look at that. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Swappy S, for the donation. That's incredibly kind of you. Love to see you flying GA planes, and also we have a wonderful community. Looking forward to seeing more in the future. Swappy, that's very kind. You supported the channel a lot over the time, and thank you very much. I'm sorry for the timings today. It meant you couldn't fly along with us, but yeah, thank you for supporting the channel as ever. And yeah, we'll do more streams like this in the future, obviously, if people enjoy it, and we'll also, of course, be back in X-Plane 11 soon, and the Airbus. And we're getting so close to being able to use the default Airbus with the mod, obviously, but that's something for the future. So here we go. We start to get near the ground. You'll get the bumps. I think that's great. That's such a good feature because it's such a critical or common part of flying. Thanks for the subscription to Mason. Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying this stream if you are flying with us. Right, let's get that power back. Coming over the ridge now. So here we can see the old international airport, which was around for a... I'll talk about that actually on the way back out. So, and thank you for the subscription to Flightpack. Which way is the wind blowing? Let's have a look. I don't think I have a readout in here because there's no IRS. So unless the GPS can work it out, but I don't think it would be able to. We would need some sort of track indicator. It's possibly coming from the right. I mean, I think it's coming from the north, judging by the windsock. Maybe northeast, judging from the windsock on takeoff. If I look outside, yeah, I'd say it gently is. So if you're trying to use a hot air balloon, it may not work for the flight up to Skiathos. There we go. People are getting really close. So yeah, if you're flying a Bonanza, let us know what aircraft is on your screen. White Eagle is in the same as me. Very strange. I don't know what it's doing then. Jawaku, no problem. Yeah, the update really tripped us up. Simon Taylor, are you on the new patch? Yes, this is the latest patch. So it added motion blur, which I immediately took off because motion blur obviously can have a performance impact, and I didn't know what sort of impact it's going to have, and I didn't want to risk it for the stream. So yeah, we're not using the motion blur. Robert Christian Jansen says, how many flights are you doing nowadays? It really varies. Sometimes almost normal, sometimes almost none. It just varies week by week, and obviously, as we all know, things are getting worse again at the moment in Europe, which is where I'm based, so that's a bit of a shame, but still, hopefully things can pick up and everyone can get safe. That's what I'm hoping in the near future. X Cub as well. Thanks for the subscription to Timo Schwartz, thank you, and Jeff Messon. Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying the video. Orders, yep, this is on the new update. So there we go. So that's the old Athens airport, which now, as you can see, is being turned into all sorts of things: offices, and a casino, and fancy housing. And I talked in my latest video, my taxi tutorial video, which is up on the channel, about these yellow crosses. So that just shows that is completely shut. Don't even think about it. You can't land on it. You can't use it. Yeah, so I go through the different signs, some of the markings you'll see on the ground, like these arrows here and stuff like that. So if you'd like a taxi tutorial, that is up on the channel now. And that's in the Airbus, obviously. Right, we're now over, I'd say, main Athens. I mean, it's a massive place. And this is something, this really impresses me in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the amount of scenery we can have loaded in. All of these, oh, don't want to do that. All of these houses. I I mean, in FSX, a lot of you will remember, I'm sure even my computer now wouldn't be able to load anything this complicated. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's an amazing city to be around and to fly over. So, how's the group doing? Still following along? We're going to start slowing down and descending soon. And we're coming up on the Acropolis. So, some facts about the Acropolis. The Acropolis, I don't know how many of you have been there or know it. It's one of the most famous, if not the most famous things to go and see in Athens. It's this thing here. And it's called the Acropolis, but the most famous building on it is the Parthenon, which we're going to see, and they've modelled really nicely in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm going to start taking the power off. As we go lower, I'll just put the mixture back up to rich, put the propeller to max. We might need that performance if I get myself into trouble. And what we're going to do is just sort of cruise around it a bit slower. So I'm going to start slowing down. Thrust is now at idle. Sorry, everyone behind. Yeah, so it's got the Parthenon on top, which is the most famous part of it, which is what people go up to see. And the Acropolis is the whole sort of area. It's got two theatres, one very old and sort of in disrepair, and one has been redone. So we'll have a look at those as we get there. And it dates back to, here you go, I told you I could give you the Wikipedia facts if you weren't interested. Nobody asked, but here we go. 5th century BC. So 2,500 years ago, which is, yeah, quite incredible that it's still there and going. Ooga Booga, thank you very much for the £5 donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. You're very welcome, and thanks for coming along and supporting us. Right, now I think the planes are too slippery in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is possibly proving it, although I don't know what this airplane is like. I want to get back into the speed tape, into the white, so I can get some flaps out. So obviously there is the Parthenon, which is the most famous building. We've got the Temple of Athena, who is the sort of patron of Athens, as you can imagine, being the goddess Athena. And we've got the entrance, which I've forgotten the name for now, which is the Propylaea. I think I'm probably saying that wrong. And as we get lower, we're getting the turbulence off the buildings, which is probably what you'd get if you try to do this in real life. Get some flaps out. Speeds right back. 2 stages of flaps. I'm going to trim it out. Okay, right, let's give this a go. This is a ridiculous thing to be trying. Now, I'm sure someone's going to try and land on there, and you can do it. I have, in Flight Simulator, I have had a go. So on this side, we have a theatre which was built slightly later. This has been redone with marble in the 1950s, I think. And the Foo Fighters have actually played here in this little theatre. And it's quite spectacular. You walk up, if you come here, up here, and then you can walk past this and then up into the Acropolis up here. And it's just, it is amazing. This is the Parthenon, which used to be used as a treasury. So it's where the money was kept and so on, as well as it's obviously its implications for all other sorts of things over the 2,500 years it's been there. Parts of the Acropolis have been updated and destroyed over time in different wars and battles, as you can imagine. There we go, Raspberry, they almost made it in. Excellent. We've got cars down there driving around. I did turn off AI traffic, actually. I must have left it on again. This is my favourite section when I go to visit it, because this is the steps in the entranceway. And as you climb up here, you really think you're in Indiana Jones, or as you go back down it again. This whole area is amazing smooth. I think it's marble. It's very slippery, actually, and you come through here, yeah, you're just on a different world. It's just like being in an Indiana Jones film. Absolutely love it. Yeah, they've done a great job with this sort of particular piece of scenery. Boy, hello, thanks for coming along. Yeah, they've done a fantastic job. And then you have another theatre here which isn't really modelled. This is old now, and it's basically falling apart. It's just been excavated, but it's not quite to the same level, or it's not usable, whereas this one's been redone in marble. How are we doing with the group flight all around? Look at that, everyone. I wonder if anyone is out here just having a look on their own, and then they see this mess. Yeah, a lot of people having to update, so I do apologise for that. It's frustrating. We didn't know. We put it up on the Discord as soon as we found out, so I have to thank all my my Discord users who warned me about that. Right, so from here, one other thing I wanted to show you. What else have I got to say about this? Oh yeah, the Odeon, that's it. This one is called the Odeon, this little theatre here. Odeon of Herodes Athenium. 161 AD was when it was built. So, 1,800 years ago. Relatively modern by the standards of the Acropolis. And the Foo Fighters have played there along with lots of other people because it was redone in the 50s. Right, anything else worth saying? sure there's loads. I do apologise if you know more about this than I do. But what we're going to do now is also go to somewhere else that is quite interesting, which is probably, yeah, it is there. Great. So before we go there, what you can see is there should be down here beneath me, this is the museum. And if you ever go to Athens and see the Acropolis, I also highly recommend the museum of the Acropolis. It's amazing. And it looks out over the Acropolis as you get up to the top floor, and you can get a great view of the whole thing, and it explains so much. It's full of amazing statues that were built around the time that they've excavated from the area. So yeah, highly recommend that. Right, let's do a low approach and go around. I can't resist it. It's got to be done, hasn't it? So let's get the last stage of flap out. And I won't try and land off this one because we're just too fast. Maybe we can get a touch and go in, and then we'll head over to the Olympic Stadium. Try and get to the landing seat. Far too fast. And if you do land on some parts of this, bounce. There we go. And away we go. Flaps back to 2. Okay, going left now. We're going to head back to the Olympic Stadium, which you can see coming up, which I also have some pointless facts about. It's the world's only white marble stadium. It was built in 330 BC as a racecourse initially, and then in 144 AD it was built as a marble Olympic and track venue, rebuilt in the 1800s, and then it was used for the first modern Olympics as well. And if you do go to Athens as well, I highly recommend seeing it because it is really cool to go and see. Right, let's get the power off. There it is. So they haven't modelled it. It looks like they just got texture for it. But if you do go, yeah, this is well worth. It's not too expensive to get into this one either. The Acropolis can be quite busy, but this one's a little bit quieter. And it's it's really cool. Right, there we go. I hope everyone's doing all right. Following me around. It must be hard to spot where I am in the list. So let's get ourselves back out to the coast. And we're going to head back to that old airport before heading up to Skiathos. Stephen's on his way. Excellent, Stephen. Stephen's another active Discord user. So we'll do one last flyby of this little scenery. Well, actually, let's do one last touch and go. There's no point us all trying to land there. That'll never work. Ollie Byrne, you're very welcome. I hope you've enjoyed it. No one asked me to do these tours. I don't know why I insist on boring you all with my my talk on them, but I do like these places, and I think is the best part of Microsoft Flight Simulator is the world they've given us here. And I do enjoy these small airplanes, particularly the Cubs and things like that. Right, let's do a bit slower this time. Oh, feel that wind kicking us around. Oh, bounce. Oh, let's get out of the way. Don't want to hit that. Flaps in a stage, heading out to the sea. Flaps fully up. Start accelerating, so some of you guys, I'll hopefully overtake you again. Look at that scenery, amazing. Right, we're going to head down to the coast and follow the coast out, where we'll see all the nice beaches that you can go to, and also the ferry ports, where you can get the flying dolphin. So if you want to go to that island I mentioned, which is straight ahead of us now, let's just get that speed under control. There we go, the Aegina Island, if anyone knows how it's pronounced. The whole city is also generated part for the Acropolis. There we go. So I think they've done an amazing job, because the houses look different to how they do in other places we've been, like London and Italy, and I think it's pretty representative of what Athens looks like, certainly from what I've seen. So I think the way this stuff is auto generated is very good. Right. Yeah, so if you want to go over to that island, you can take a ferry, but you can also take something that's quite rare, a hydrofoil. These big, I think they're diesel powered, but I don't know that. They are incredibly powerful monsters, I'll call them, because when you sit inside, they are noisy and they whiz along amazing speed over the water. And I love the water details here, where we've got this sort of rippling effect and so on, where you see the wind gusting on top of the water and things like that. That's a really nice detail. But yeah, so they go from, I think it's this port here, and they shoot off to that island really fast. And then we've got this main road, so we're going to go left and follow the coast as we head down towards some of the beaches. Swap yes for another 100 rupees. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, Swappy. Again, you do far too much for the channel. Here, I think this is the old World War One boat, which you can go and visit, which is, I haven't done. No, sorry, no, this one here. This is a military boat, but I haven't been to it. It's on my list of things to do. Swappy, yeah, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I'm glad the tours aren't too boring for you. Oh, struggling. There we go. David Raymond, thank you for subscribing. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, Ollie, I agree. I think it is a pretty good representation. So then you can go along here, and these are the beaches that you can get to if you ever stay in Athens quite easily, without too many issues. And it's all just lovely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Athens, definitely. That fantastic view. How are we doing, everyone? Time for a screenshot, I think. Let's get ourselves as many name tags as we can. We're also flying, of course, the happiest aeroplane in aviation, the Cub Crafter, with its smiley face, especially for us. Okay, so now we get to the old airport. Now let me just check. I did write down some things to chat about. So yeah, the old airport is Ellinikon, I think it's called, pronounced. It was used until March 2001, which is when they swapped over to the new airport. This was built in 1938, used a lot by the military, including the Americans, I believe, for a long time. But now they're building over it with the other sort of luxury homes and casinos. But this is where you'd have had Olympic had their own terminal here, the flag carrier, which is no longer around. Now it's Aegean. But they had their own terminal here, and 707s and all those classic sort of things would come in. But now you can see these big buildings sort of cropping up, which is quite common in old airports. I don't know what's going on with the airport in Istanbul either, but that there is now two airports there. As we said, yellow crosses we're not going to use because we're not allowed. That means that is just closed, and they're very clear from the air to make sure you can't accidentally end up on the top of them. Right. And this other runway seems totally free. I don't know why that is. So, yeah. Oh, we do have an Airbus. There we go. It had to happen. Roaring through the sky. Excellent. Excellent. Right, what we'll do, let's do a circuit, touch and go, and then head off back up towards Skiathos. We might try and make it over these mountains. I don't know what the performance would be like. How long have we been streaming for as well? We've done 46 minutes. About another half an hour to get over to Skiathos. So yeah, so let's I'm going to do a left and then do a turn back round to land on that runway we just did our flyby of. So big left turn all the way around here, just making it up as we go. That's the fun, isn't it? General aviation. You guys are doing a great job. Look at White Eagle right behind there. Amazing. Some of you must be formation pilot trained or something like that. Right, I'm going to try and keep it around 80 knots, but no promises there, ever. And we'll try and approach. I'll end up skipping over those buildings, but there we go. Look at that. It's fantastic. Wonder what the view out the back of this airplane is. Oh, we can't see anyone. You'd be quite reassured. This is a very posh airplane as well. I mean, if you look at the interior, airplanes and general aviation airplanes, especially sort of older Cessnas and so on, they're built, you know, to be lightweight and safe. But when you sit in them, they don't feel like you're in a luxury car by any means. They tend to feel quite rugged, whereas this inside looks quite plush, quite nice. Fancy flooring and things. Right, one stage of flaps. Oh, a bit fast for that. Let's get speed right back. Yeah, I'm sure. I feel like the real airplane would slow down a bit better, but there we go. Back to 70 knots. Second stage of flaps. And we'll just do another touch and go on this runway here. Why not? Try not to get too close to this building here. Got people on the other runway. Last stage of flap, so a full flap. I do have a video on touch and goes in the Airbus if you'd like to go to my channel and see that. I did it in X-Plane 11. One of the last videos I did before we ended up with Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think. There we go, the faster aircraft ahead of us already. Oh, someone's done I'm not forget what that's called, but it's just so sensitive here. There's touchdown, flaps in a stage, try and keep it straight. And we'll go to full power. Flying at 40 knots already. Let's get a screenshot of that. Flaps in and all the way in. Let's go. Right, how are we going to get to Skiathos? We have two options. We can either try and get over those hills, or we can, well, we'll have to climb up to do that, or we can head round over the original airport we departed from. Let me guys know what you think. Lancer, do it, yes. I'm going to keep climbing for now. So I did write down the best rate of climb speed for this, or best angle of climb, sorry, is what we're going to want here. 59 miles to the hour would be best angle. Now what that would be in knots, I don't know, but that's probably in the region. It's certainly going to be 50 knots, something like that. So that's quite an aggressive speed to be climbing at. So yeah, it's got some performance on it. 180 horsepower we've got here as well. Right, I'm going to keep climbing. Once we get the altitude, we'll make our left turn and head over to Skiathos. Take the scenic route. Okay. So, in the map here, I have the GPS line. So we're going to go round the hills, and then I'm just going to follow the coast up. We'll do a sort of scenic climb, follow it up to Skiathos. Like I said, around about half an hour flight time for that, or maybe a little bit longer. But we'll try and get it done fairly reasonably, and we're going to go up to probably close to our max sort of cruising speed. So there we go. Let's get ourselves left, and we're going to get close to some of that weather, and we definitely don't have a weather radar in this one. So I've left a few of you behind. I do apologise. I'll bring the power back when we get up and level. Fantastic. Yeah. Please fly to Germany. Yeah, San Andreas Studios. Yep, Germany. We'll try and do all sorts of different things over time. I've been to Germany a few times in Microsoft. In X-Plane 11. My last flight was there in the Airbus. Right. Let's level off here. 2,500. Let's see if we can get the autopilot in. Maybe it'll give you guys a chance instead of having to follow my horrible twitchy flying. It says level. It just seems to hold the pitch. But if I wind in an altitude, I think that'll work better. Out. Bring the speed back. So it's in out 27 and it's on level. Let's put on the flight director. And let's have that heading. Okay, there we go. So we're in heading with the autopilot and out mode. Heading and out, they're very comfortable modes. We like those. And look at this touchscreen. This is great. So we can just, let's put that on. Amazing. I did not know airplanes had this. I really didn't. We can cruise at about 110 knots quite comfortably. Let's bring the mixture back. Now we've climbed up a little bit again. And you'll see the RPM actually increase. Seems like quite a low mixture. There we go. And bring the prop back a bit. Typically that's what you do on these things. Got a timer as well. Fantastic. Does that work? Yes, it does. So we've got so many features built into this panel. I don't know if this is the same as the G1000 in the other aircraft, but it's a little bit frustrating at times that the Airbus has got so many things missing, like the chrono and things. But it's all built into these panels quite nicely. But I suppose we know what we think about that. Mariner Halley, yeah, we're on the public server. It's just I've got all enabled as sort of other traffic and multiplayer mode, so all not live. Live is for people trying to do things a bit more properly, I think. We've just got all, and we're in the West Europe server. Thanks, Richard V, for helping people out with that. So yes, I think we should do a group flight in South America. Very scenic and would be fun, landing at small airstrips. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. Take the classic, of course, the Cessna Caravan around. Do some fun things. I think that RPM seems a bit high still. This is quite common what you do. You get less power out of them at lower RPMs, but they can work better for cruising speeds. Right, how are you guys doing? Yeah, there we go. People are managing to form up now. We'll have to find a way to get the numbers here sorted out. I quite like this pulsing strobe light as well. That's quite fancy and modern to have. You may hear the cats appear now, as is usual about this time in the stream. Where are we? We're about 53 minutes in yet. There we go. White Eagle is absolutely glued to the wing. And so is, I've lost the name now, in the PC-9. I think there's a PC-9. I have no idea what airplane they're actually flying. There's a 320 by Niklas. I've lost. Just looking for the cat now. I think they've left. Right. Now, is there a nav mode? There is a nav mode, but let's bring ourselves up the coast. So we're going to sort of head up that way. Darinaho says, the 350 now has touchscreens as an option. No, it may well do. It wouldn't surprise me. The 350 is full of amazing things. It can even do an emergency descent and a depressurization on its own, I think, or very without much supervision. I don't know anything about it. I haven't flown it, but yeah, it's full of great screens and bits of equipment, as is the 380 and other things. The A320 is obviously a slightly older design now. I mean, it's still using the same setup as it was when it was launched in the 80s, but it's, I think, a very ergonomic aeroplane. So the way it was laid out when it was designed is really, really good. It was all put in the right place and thought about in the first place. Let's get these lights up. What I might do is set it to live time and we'll see what it looks like at night. VFR night flying single engine is a very interesting experience. Obviously, with a single engine, we can't really fly this low as we were to the terrain because it's not really safe. I mean, I'm not sure what the rules are in Greece, but in the UK, typically it'd be 500 feet away, and if it's a busy area, you need to be 1,000 feet away. And even then, you want to have options to land. So here we have all these nice long fields. We could sort of put the airplane down, and if we couldn't, if our engine fails, because you have to be ready for that engine to fail at any moment. Likewise, if we go too far out over water, yes, we can ditch, but we need to have life jackets on board, things like that. So we probably won't be following that today. But yeah, it's one of those things. But at night, you can't land in these fields because these fields will be unlit. So you're actually sort of stuck where you're just aiming for a dark patch, really, if you're doing single engine VFR at night. So it's yeah, slightly different sort of thing. There we go. There's CGB flights cruising along there. I'm just accelerating slightly, get us up to our hoping for about 110 knots. Swap, yes. Thanks for coming along for the start, and thanks for your donations. And yeah, have a good night. We'll see you in another one soon. Mariner Halley says, I'm trying to find you. The update broke the mod. Oh no. So I know this has happened before where when Microsoft updates Flight Simulator, there's Athens itself. The A320 mod, which I feature on the channel quite regularly, gets slightly broken. They're usually very quick at fixing it, but sadly that does cause problems. And I mean, that's exactly why I don't stream it at the moment, because, for example, today we got away with it because this plane is quite simple. But if we look at that, excellent. Yeah, but if we end up with trying to do an Airbus flight and then this happens and the mod's broken, the default aircraft is just not really fit for much in terms of streaming at the moment, because it's just got so many issues that need correcting. Irene says, do you know you can do a spin? Yeah, you can spin. And some of the flight physics, again, not talking about the airliners, but talking about the smaller aircrafts, aside from the sensitivity, which I think is still a bit high at times, you can do some spins and things, which does feel good. And as I've mentioned many times, the way they handle weather and turbulence, I think, is really nice. Let's see if we come on, a bit faster airplane. Starting to get some a bit of turbulence now. I think this would be a very nice airplane to do some touring in. You've got these big, comfy-looking seats. The only problem is I suppose your bags go at the back there. It says it has a useful load of 1,000 pounds. I think it was about 1,000 pounds. So what's that? About just under, 400 kilograms? About 400 kilograms, something like that. Yeah, 1,000 pounds useful load. I don't know if that includes passengers, which would be 2 passengers and 200 kilos of bag, I suppose, which is quite a lot, really, actually, for one of these things. But it is quite a high-end sort of Cub. Yeah, Video Man Chris, we've got a few of the more wacky airplanes. I can see the Pit Special's still going, which must be quite a hard airplane to fly along. There's definitely no autopilot in that. And the Spaceship 227 in the extra. Is that an extra? Oh no, that's the RV, isn't it? Is that the Vans? I think we've lost a few in the time for the length of this one. Oh, that's quite good. Good picture there. Excellent. Right, so you can see all the water currents out here. So if I zoom into my fancy pants map, which you can do down here, and zoom out, sorry. Right, let's turn left and get ourselves heading up towards Skiathos. So Skiathos was basically, it was the second place I streamed. My first stream was simply from, I think I left Frankfurt and flew to Amsterdam. And then my next one I flew from Athens to Skiathos. And we did the Skiathos approach. And as someone said in the chat, it is famous for being the St. Martin of Europe. So if you don't know what St. Martin is, it's the airport in the Caribbean, which has an incredibly close threshold to the beach. So when you're standing on the beach, you'll see the airliners fly right over your heads, which does look spectacular. I've never been. I don't know if any of you have been, but it's something I'd definitely love to do. And Skiathos is famous for being that in Europe. There are some great videos on YouTube. Airbus is doing well, very well, to stay so close. Yeah, so it's full of flaps, as you can see. Excellent. Yeah, so the airport in Skiathos has a similar issue where the beach is right in front. I wonder if we'll get wake turbulence. In real life, this could flip us over. The wake turbulence on airliners comes from mainly the wingtips, which is what these sharklets do, but also at the edge of these flaps, it seems to cause other ones as well. But wake vortices from aircraft like that, which will count as heavy compared to what we're in, although obviously it's only a medium compared to other airliners. It's caused by, you've got high pressure under the wing and low pressure on top of the wing, and that high pressure underneath is what keeps the airplane in the air, with the low pressure above gives it lift. But that that high pressure beneath tries to get to the top, so it moves outwards along the bottom and it tries to swirl over the edge of the wing onto the top, just caused by the differences. Oh, he's gone. Oh, we've got a Dreamliner as well. Yeah, and by putting those sharklets on, that reduces that. And that swirl causes drag behind the airplane, and it also causes problems for us. And it's really powerful. Plenty of small aircraft have been flipped over by it before, and I mean upside down. And it can cause nasty turbulence even in airliners. It's also bad because you don't tend to see it coming, because you'll be... Oh, there's some lightning as well. You'll be flying along quite happily in clear, smooth air, and then you'll just hit it, and it really makes the airplane, jump around. Nicholas the heroes. Yeah, exactly. Irene says, I think the plane is so slow. Which plane? Are you talking about the same aircraft, are you? Are those seats ventilated at least? Darian Maho says, yeah. Yeah, I wonder. You won't find... I don't know if there's any aircraft out there with heated or ventilated seats, like some really posh cars have these days. What have we got? We've got loads of signs in here. VO 87 IAS usually. But this is in knots. This is an option in the real aircraft. I did see that you have to pay, and like I said, I think this was the most expensive option I saw. It was $20,000 for the Garmin G3X, which is what I'm assuming this is. Thanks very much for the subscription to Ian Colton. I hope you enjoy the stream, and also to Ruhed Ventura. Thanks for coming along. Gaming with Roger. Wish I had a PC that could run Microsoft Flight Simulator X-Plane 11. Yeah, it's a shame that Microsoft Flight Simulator is so hard to run. But having said that, X-Plane 11 is not as hard to run. But yeah, it does require a graphics card and a dedicated graphics card anyway, and probably quite a good processor to get them up and running. But of the two, X-Plane 11 is much easier to run than Microsoft, which obviously takes a bit more graphical power. Look at this, people working really hard. I think we've got a few autopilot users like me now as well. Stephen Brown did like X-Plane 10, took a few year break getting the urge. Yeah, I had X-Plane 10 and I liked it. I liked the handling. I didn't like the user interface at all. I found it really difficult to use, especially compared to FSX. Thank you for the subscription to Powell Matui and to Carmel Kassab. I hope you're enjoying the flight, or the stream, or the video that you're watching. I'm not sure. Yeah, 20k for flight instrument bargain. Yeah, I know. I think this is the G3X. But, I mean, the touchscreens, like I say, very fancy. So we're making good progress now up towards Skiathos. Still doing 105 knots. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have to do to I don't know if I can get it faster. I might need to increase the fuel or the RPM a bit. Let's climb up. Let's get ourselves up so we don't hit anything while I'm talking. So the magic of this. Let's do 3,500. Oh, there isn't a VNAV mode. Let's do vertical speed. 500 feet per minute. Squeeze on the manifold pressure, full power. Might need more RPMs. Give yourself a chance. Climb up. Let's see what you guys are doing. Because I'm assuming if you're watching, all my information I give you will be delayed, just to make it even harder. So probably most people flying with me are just having to do it straight from their visuals in the sim. I see a few complaints about slow mode in the chat. I do apologise. I had meant to make the delay slightly better, so that's something I must remember to do for next time. But so sorry for that. Sassy H, hello from Germany. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well over in Germany. Yep, Stephen, the graphics in Flight Simulator are outstanding, but certainly the flight models for the payware aircraft in X-Plane are obviously much better. Particularly the airliners. That's the big thing you'll notice is the quality of the airliners in X-Plane is still higher, but you know, things are changing all the time at the moment and definitely improving in Flight Simulator. Especially we got the free mods working really well. Martin Jansen, hello. Thanks for coming along. Richard Holman, good evening. Hope you're doing well. 232 of you, fantastic. Thank you all for coming along to watch today. I'm very good, Captain Monster. I hope you're doing well. 21-second delay. Okay, that's a bit more than I'd hoped actually. I did set it to low latency, but doesn't seem to have caught on. Right. Next, what I want to do while we're here is let's try out see what camera modes we get included with this showcase fixed. These are always quite fun. There we go, someone down there. Tail GoPro camera. I imagine if you own one of these, it's obligatory to strap a GoPro to it and show off your cruising around. Vortex generators. So looks like it's got the leading edge there and there. This is probably for the aileron, I'm guessing here. These are interesting. They're even on airliners. You'll see them on Boeing 737s. They're not on the Airbus, but they are added to aircraft typically later as sort of a modification because the test pilots wouldn't have liked some of the characteristics or something like that, or they want to change it because test pilots have to prepare the airplane for everyone. So what these do is they swirl the air. So the air obviously goes underneath the wing and over the wing, and because of the shape of the wing you can see these curves. We get lift because it's running faster over the top of the wing. Now the problem with that is it relies on it being attached to the wing, so you get laminar flow right close to the wing surface, and if the angle of attack gets high, that can start to separate and you lose lift, and then eventually you'll stall. What these do is by swirling the air, it helps it stick to the surface for longer, which is obviously important, especially in front of your ailerons. It's interesting to see it along the whole wing really. So this will help at higher angles of attack, which probably helps with the low speed performance, I'm imagining, I don't know, but that's what I think these would be for, which would explain why there's no, we know there's no slats on this aircraft. So without slats, which also help you with high angle of attack, this is probably an alternative solution to that. Will certainly help. But obviously the Zlin that we used last time had fantastic huge slats and was therefore able to land at something ludicrous like 20 knots. Amazing. Anyway, there's a lesson again no one asked for. But what else have we got? Yeah, this would be a good GoPro mounting point. Especially, this is something you do if you have remote control models of Cubs and things. This is always fun. Nice big tyres on this airplane. I think it would be great. Sort of the Trent Palmer style of airplane to cruise around in the countryside or the bush flying, definitely. Does anyone know what this is? Is this a cargo hold? Is that a way to get into the cargo hatch without having to go through the cabin? Maybe. Don't know. Captain Monster has just joined the Discord. Thanks. Yeah, the Discord link should be in the description for today's video. Yes, it is. Yep. So if you'd like to join Discord, that's there. The Discord has had a big refresh today. I say today, I mean yesterday. And we have to thank Yes Papa, who's the user who's, I think, Yes Papa, are you flying along here? Certainly a very active Discord user. Oh, I've got to change my camera now. When you go into Showcase, you sort of lose control of everything. There we go. Yeah, so Yes Papa has worked very hard introducing bots. We have some roles now, but the roles are temporary at the moment. There's only one. It's passenger. I'm a passenger as well. Everyone's a passenger. But once you verify yourself by clicking on a little tick in the verify channel, then you'll get assigned passenger, and then we'll start introducing roles in the future, because I know that's something people really want. We obviously have the admins, the mods, and so on. I can see Mateo, one of our mods there. There's Turtle Kayak, Tango Delta, yeah, great to see you guys. Thanks for coming along for so long. Yeah, so Yes Papa has worked very hard sorting out the Discord, so we have a bit more organisation. We added all the channels. I forget who suggested it. Someone suggested the terminal idea, so I must give credit. I need to find out who did actually. I'll type it on there at some point. So we've got X-Plane 11 terminal, Microsoft Flight Simulator terminal, which are different categories, and then in those categories we have different text channels, just to make it a bit more organised, because the server grew so much, especially over the last couple of months, that I found for myself conversations were getting so divided I couldn't keep up, especially if people mentioned me. There was no way for me to really come and talk to them or answer very easily without interrupting another conversation. So now we have more categories, more channels. Feel free to use it. We've got rules will be going up soon. For now there aren't any, but it's the usual Discord rules of obviously be polite, nothing offensive, don't harass each other, all that good stuff. But we'll be writing them up soon as well. And we've got the bots now, so I've got a lot of videos on my channel, and Yes Papa did a great job with the bot, which means that you can type in the commands in the bot command channel. It shows you what they are, and the bot will give you a link to one of my videos on my channel. So if you want an RNAV tutorial or takeoff tutorial in Microsoft or X-Plane and so on, it'll link to them, because I've got something like over 60 videos and tutorials on there, plus the live streams. So often people ask for a tutorial, and it's not uncommon that I've actually already done one at some point. Kevin the Minion, we've got another Airbus pilot joining. Does look great, the A320. I do like the design. So yeah, so all those features have been added. Yeah, the Discord is going through a big change, and I apologise to those of you who were trying to use it when it all got changed around, because I know it was confusing, but hopefully it makes sense now. And keep the feedback coming, guys. If you get any other ideas you want to see, any changes, do let me know, and we'll see what we can do and what works. Joe Hollings, thank you very much for the donation. That's very kind of you, £5 donation. Thanks for the great stream. You're very welcome, Joe. Thanks for coming along, and I hope you enjoy the flight, and thank you for supporting the channel. It's really kind of you guys. So yeah, thank you very much, Joe. I hope you're doing well this evening. Are you flying with us, Joe? Let's see if I can see through the names. Left tank, I don't know. Air Espresso, good to see Air Espresso's here. I can't see Joe's name. But yeah, thank you very much. It is a great fleet, Stephen, I agree. Streamer roles, says Mariner Hannah. Yeah, so there could be all sorts. I haven't worked out what I want the roles to be. That's my issue. I'm still working on it. Right, let's get over this terrain. How are we going to do that? I think we have to let's take the scenic route. Let's go through this valley over here. We can always climb if we need to. There have been incidents you can see around of people getting this wrong, especially in bush flying, if you don't put enough care into what you're doing and calculations. So in airliners, obviously, we don't tend to have to worry about terrain to the same extent unless we're departing or arriving into an airport. But actually, I think this VFR chart's showing us, so it looks like if we go through here, that would be much better, the yellow. But the funny thing is that the terrain can be serious enough that we're required to have escape routes where there's some parts of the world where the terrain is so high that you can't do a descent like you would normally. Thank you for the description to Kenneth Canada. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing very well. Yes, sorry guys, just trying to sort something out there. Yep, so in an airline you can still have terrain that causes such an issue. So the Alps, for example, go up to about just over 18,000 feet. So you can't descend below that if you're over them, but they're not too wide ranging, so you can actually get down over the other side quite quickly. But there are some places where the problem is the terrain is so high that if you have to do an emergency descent because you've depressurized, for example, you can't then get yourself back down to a low enough altitude where the air is breathable, and you'll start to run out of time, because the oxygen masks don't last forever. So it's they might have to, you have escape routes which are planned to give you options the whole time, so you know that if you have a depressurization there, where you're going to go to get yourself out of it. Oh wow, this terrain's pretty serious on this side. Oh no, the freezes do scare me. It does do quite a few of those. I wonder if that's why it loads up bonanzas, because it's concerned about performance issues. I must have a look at what the processing use is in my computer to run this. Alex Barton, thanks for the subscription. I hope you're doing well. Video Man Chris, I'm glad you enjoyed the taxi tutorial. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. I quite enjoyed making that one. It was one I talked about for a long time. It's applicable to X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator, or whatever simulator you're using. Let's just keep following these hills around. But yeah, I did enjoy making that video, and it does mainly work at the airports with scenery added in by Microsoft or Asobo. But yeah. Greeting from the pit special, says Marcus. There we go. Let's find there we go. Any bubble cruising around. How are we doing? The fleet's kept its size, definitely. So thank you to everyone for hanging on. Must be hard work to be following me the whole time. Right, hopefully, well, we're not going to make it over there. Might be time to climb. Let's do it. Let's get some altitude on. Let's try 4.6 vertical speed. Full power. Got the RPM up. Mixture should be fine. I don't know though. It's a dark art, sorting out mixtures and so on. You'll get to know your airplane very well, and they'll have some performance figures that will hopefully sort that out for you. I think we're starting to aim for this gap. Let's keep it climbing. 400 feet per minute. I reckon I can do a bit more than that. Try and get up to 5,000 feet. Sorry, just trying to sort out the chat there, guys. DG27, I'm glad you enjoyed it, David. Thanks. Yep, that's good. I'm glad. It's a bit of a niche topic, I suppose, a bit of a smaller topic than some of the others, but yeah, good. Alex Barton, thanks for the subscription, if I didn't say so. The Wren, good evening from Swiss. I'm glad you enjoy the tutorials. Full power, fire up, yeah, absolutely. And that is a lot of little planes. It's one of our biggest group. Look at that. Oh, we've got 330 now. Excellent. Question that I get quite a lot from Raspberry Raid. In your opinion, what's the best way to become a pilot in the real world? If you want to become an airline pilot, it's a complicated question. It depends on where you are in the world as well. But certainly things like getting the best grades you can in school, obviously, will help you out in your applications. Also getting your medical sorted, so knowing if you have the right medical, if you can pass your class 1 medical, which is what it is in the UK and Europe, but it could be a different class elsewhere. So knowing you can do that, and then also getting onto an airline cadet scheme is typically the best way forwards. So keep an eye out on airlines that run cadet schemes. Now obviously at the moment things are not great for aviation, and it may not be many of these things available, but having a cadet scheme, which means that the airline is already looking to employ you even before you start training, is obviously the most ideal way to get into the industry, because it removes some of the risk. If you just do your training and hope to get a job afterwards, it's obviously very expensive. So yeah, but it's a very complicated question. Get as much advice as you can. There's lots of websites and magazines all dedicated to it. Yeah, people are getting the freezers as well. Okay, yeah, me too. Captain Monster says, just a question, this is your brand new Discord server. Yeah, so I kept the same server, and Yes Papa did a lot of work with the bots, and I just divided up the channels. So I hope you guys like it, but like I say, let me know if you need any more channels or categories. I didn't do it at first because I wanted to keep the channels small enough so that conversation was flowing, but obviously it's grown and there's a lot of questions coming up, so this way it's hopefully easier for people to get on. Daria now says, and money. Yes, it's expensive. It is an expensive thing to do, and if you can get a cadet scheme that pays for the training, that is obviously the best thing as well. There we go. I'm being outperformed now. That pit seems to have lots of extra performance left in it. Paid 691 is in a twin engines. Those are diesel powered, I think, but those yeah, those are nice and powerful, I'm sure, for doing this. Right, here we go then. Heading oceanic shortly as we head over to Skiathos for our arrival. How long have we been streaming now? 1 hour and 20. Yeah, okay, good. Raspberry Raid, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos, even for the A319. Yeah, so my videos, you know, obviously in the 321, but they apply to Airbus, short-haul Airbuses typically in general. Hey Jackman, how is your professional life? Are you still 100% working? No, I'm not doing as much work as I would have been doing this time last year. No. Chris Williams says, is mid-30s too old to start a career as an airline pilot? No. The medical thing is an issue, but retirement age in the UK anyway is, I believe it's 65. So, you know, if you start mid-30s, you could be finished training by the time you're 40. And then what, you've got potentially 25 years of flying. I mean, yeah, no, that's not an issue. But S says that dream to fly 350 for Delta. There you go. If you dream it and you keep focused at it, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it. But it's one of those things. It just takes a bit of luck and judgment as you go through it all. Do I recommend a cadet academy or norm? I don't know what norm would be in America. There's two ways in Europe, which would be an integrated course, or which would be a sort of cadet scheme, but you can do that even without an airline. So I'm probably not the best person to ask about America. It's quite different over there, especially with the 1,500-hour requirement, which we don't have in Europe. So I wish I could be more help. Like I say, if you can do an airline-sponsored scheme or something like that, that's usually best. So having an airline say, "Yep, we want to employ you as a pilot," even before you started training, then that's ideal. Often that doesn't give you a guarantee, but still. Right, I think it's time to change the fuel tank over. Now, let's try and get this right. I want to select right tank. Okay, that's fine. Turn the fuel pump on. Should we do that? Where can I see? Oh, it's up here, I think. I did see that. Oh, dear. Well, that's not looking good. We're about to run out, I think. Let's... No. Is that going to change that? How much fuel have we got left? 31%. But it's all in the right. What am I looking at here? Usable fuel. Yeah. Well, I think... No, we don't want to shut the fuel off. So I think we're using the right tank now. Something that you don't think about in twin engine aeroplanes. Just having to keep swapping tanks. Video Man Chris says, hopefully not a silly question. Nope, no silly questions ever. Don't apologise. People ask everything they like. That's the whole fun. Oh, wow. There we go. We're getting overcast shadows. There we go. Brilliant. What is a short-haul pilot? Assume shorter flights. Yeah, exactly. Short-haul would typically be someone flying A320s, that sort of aircrafts. There's no rules about it. There's no license change. If you're in an A320 but you don't put many passengers on it, you could fly it for 8 hours, or an A319 maybe. I'm not entirely sure what the longest range would be on those, but anyway, so short haul just means the short haul single aisle aircraft, so 737, A320 family style things, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so in America probably called regional pilot, and then I don't know if you have short haul in America as much, but yeah. Yep, Darian, yep. Distracted by the chat for sure. Oh, I absolutely love this sort of scenery. Right, well, I'm surprised that's not going up. I was really hoping to see that increase. So we could get ourselves into trouble soon. Maximum fuel imbalance, 5 gallons difference. Well, we're definitely beating that. Interesting, the Airbus has warnings when you get an imbalance, but in flight it doesn't have a limit. It can fly even with a complete imbalance of one side full, one side empty. I think I've said that before, but I think that's amazing. Oh, we're doing on fuel, 9 gallons per hour. Let's bring the props ready back. Yeah, okay. Good. Coming up to Skiathos, not too far away now. But yeah, this is not something you'd want to do, is head out over the ocean. Also, something you don't want to do is head out over the ocean in one of these things at night. Let's set it to night. Still got lightning up there. Yeah, look at that. So we fly using the horizon visually. I know we have our instrument in here, but it's only going to cause you headaches because at night, especially if the visibility isn't this good in any sort of haze, you can lose all sense of the horizon. And a lot of people over the years have become very disorientated over the sea trying to fly VFR. Those lights are very bright. I think other people's lights are lighting me up as well. Let's do a little bit of night flying. You can see some people have got their landing lights on. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I think that's my own landing light beaming on the front of the airplane there. Right, we're nearly there. 1 hour 25, yeah. I've just slightly... Yeah. Oh, hold on. What am I talking about? Oh. I was hoping to see this one full of blue fuel. That is a little disappointing. Is that meant to be fuel there? This one was blue, which avgas that you'd put in these airplanes is blue. Again, amazing detail they've added to this sort of thing. Oh, there we go. Got the twin engine aircraft there. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, right side. Literally taking the fuel of the wings. Normal flight school, says Bart S. Yeah. It's just such a different system in the US, Bart. I wish I could help more, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. Oh no. What have I done? Oh, there we go. Okay, good. No, I want the whole thing. Map. Yes, please. There we go. Excellent. What do we do now about the fuel? This is definitely the wrong place to have this issue, that's for sure. I think that's meant to be fuel there. Let's just set it to daylight for a little bit. Yeah, there we go. We're fine, we're fine. There's a lesson for the next one. Leave it at night for a little bit. Very cozy. I mean, a lot of people enjoy flying at night. The air's smoother. Bit of fun. Oh, that's great. The moonlight there. Still got that lightning. I feel like we've grown in size since our departure from Athens anyway. So Skiathos, what's so special about Skiathos? So we said it's the sort of St. Martin of Europe. It's got that really close landing threshold to the road, so you can stand there and have jets land right over you. You can see 757s and A321s in there. Typically the biggest aircraft you'll see there is those two. There's a great video of one doing a reverse taxi there. A 757 powering back using reverse thrust, which I've never seen anywhere else before. So that is really amazing to see. It's a narrow runway as well, so 45 meters is the standard width for these sort of international runways. It's narrower. I think it might be down to 30 meters at Skiathos or something similar to that. Left tank should be able to help us out with the fuel, says Turtle Kayak. Yes, absolutely. Darian, I have crossfeed available. No, I don't think we have a crossfeed in this. We've got select left tank, select right tank, and then off. As far as I'm aware. Yeah, we don't want to get any ice. That's certainly not something you'd want in this situation. Or on one of these style of airplanes. Gianni Decima. Sorry, yep. There'll be more group flights in future. and I'll put them in the Discord. We now have better ways to announce things in the Discord, hence the refresh of the Discord. And hopefully next time I'll be able to announce it. And yes, Papa was telling me that it's going to be possible to then use a bot to create an event so that you can sign up and then I can notify just individuals who want to be a part of the group flight. Fire up. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Darius says it's connect the fuel indicator pipes to each other with tape to solve it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if we had a passenger sitting behind, we could get them to hold those pipes across. They've even got the ELT you can turn on up here. The ELT transmits on 121.5, which is sort of the guard or emergency frequency. It transmits a constant sort of noise, which is very recognisable. And you do hear them every now and then, ones that have been set off accidentally, things like that. See that lightning still flashing up there. I wonder if I turn down the lights in the cabin. There we go, a bit more night flight style stuff. Yeah, it's a lovely evening. So we're coming up to our destination, ladies and gentlemen. So the approach is the VOR is actually not at the airport; it's on the island over to the right. So you in the procedurally you'd fly over here, go outbound. I did it before in my stream. It's one of my oldest streams. Like I said, outbound, turn round, inbound, and then point at the runway. Hopefully your visual, and then fly your approach from there. But it says, how long have you been flying the A320? I've flown the A320 for, let me think, 5 and a bit, nearly 6 years. Yeah, on the A320. Right, let's set it up to, let's put it to dusk. Oh, look at that. That is amazing. Well, that's surely worthy of a screenshot on its own. It's the same. I mean, if we did a big group, I could control the settings for everyone, I think. But I think it's much easier like this, because otherwise everyone would have to add it in advance. It'd be very confusing. There's the moon rising over there and reflecting in the water. And we've nearly made it. So what we'll do is, I don't know how we're all going to fit into Skiathos. It's a much smaller airport than obviously Athens was. So we'll have a bit of fun trying to get ourselves around. Greetings to Hayden J. Robbins. Thanks for coming along. Turtle Kayak says, what good does the constant noise on the emergency channel do? Good question. Well, it notifies us and we can tell their traffic. And by transmitting, they can locate things. They can triangulate in all sorts of clever things. So, yeah, just by you transmitting on the radio, it's possible to locate where something is. So it does serve a purpose. Andrew Maisie, I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. What is the runway heading? Let me check. I do have the charts for it available. I'm hoping LG... What's the code? LGSK. Right. Thank you, Richard V. Richard V's on it with the weather. So what have we got? Variable 5 knots, so we can choose whatever we fancy. So we're landing over the sea, I think, for sure. I think what we'll do is we'll do a flight. Let's come in, circle around the island, land in that way. That's my plan. Do we have enough fuel to do that? That's the real question. How much fuel have we got up here? Yeah, 10 gallons. Usable fuel, plenty, I'm sure. Thanks for the subscription to XB1T. Bart S says the 350 want to fly the 350 because it's a beautiful beast and also way more comfortable for the pilots. Yeah, it's got a lot of nice features for the pilots, absolutely. So yeah, the 320. You know, typically airlines will start pilots on smaller aircraft like the 320 before going long haul. One of the main reasons being that you want to give your pilots a chance to I'm just going to start descending now. Oh, not that way. Start down and let's set an altitude beneath us. Let's go down to, oh, that's very clumsy. Let's do 1,000 feet for our little tour, or 1,100 feet, there we go, and we're in vertical speeds. Right, power back. Let's add that mixture up. Get the prop up, just so we're ready for anything. Look at that lovely sky. And this is, you know, you do get views like this flying, and it's where the job's at its absolute best, when you can just, you take off, you've got the sun. The reason you get this, obviously, is the sun below the horizon shining up onto the clouds, and it's just stunning. That's amazing. I don't know, this simulator blows me away with how well it does the atmosphere. Oh, fantastic. If anyone at home flying along wants to recreate this, I have live weather and I've set it to 1634 UTC. Might be getting a bit dark soon though, but there we go. Trying to get in just before nightfall. Yeah, so the reason that you want your pilots who start out flying to fly short haul is because they'll do obviously lots more takeoffs and landings, so it's just better to get the experience in. If you go straight onto long haul, it does happen and it's fine. Obviously, you know, you'll be trained and so on, but there is something to be said for the fun of doing several flights in a day. It's obviously harder work, but I really enjoy it, you know, and you get to do your landing every day, at least one, hopefully, yeah, just fly a beautiful approach. Like, you might end up taking off and flying into the sunset like this, which is just great, isn't it? Bart is actually called Wayland. There you go. MB, I just got this game. Where should I visit? If you've just got the game, something that I did when I first got it was, oh look, fly-by-wire livery. I didn't know that would work. Excellent. That's yeah. I don't know. We've got another Airbus player. Matteo doing a great job there. I don't know how, Matteo, you're flying and moderating and chatting. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that you can choose airports, and then there's suggested airports, and there's loads of great fun ones in there. So that's something that you might want to consider doing. There we go, roaring across. All this muck on the windscreen is quite good too. That looks like a bird strike to me. That's quite a big piece of muck, or a very big bumblebee or something. But you can be on approach and you'll just hit a huge bumblebee and it just makes a mess of your windscreen at the last minute. I don't know. I think that's still a problem even with a propeller. I don't think the propeller catches too many of them. Brainhammer66 says, what's the oldest you've seen someone switch career to a pilot? Well, I've seen people in their 40s do it. I've seen lots of people have other careers and then do it. You know, they might work in IT or have degrees in other things, or even be lawyers, things like that, and become pilots. So all sorts. It really is all sorts. I wouldn't want to put a number on it. I probably couldn't tell you because I don't know everyone's history. But yeah, I've seen people do it in their 40s, definitely. Absolutely. Bath McNabb, good to see you here. And yes, as long as the number of landings is at least equal to the number of takeoffs. It is a big bug mark. Yeah, I do agree. That's that would be. I mean, I've hit a bumblebee before up at 10,000 feet. It's amazing where these bugs end up and how many there can be. I've flown an approach where you suddenly fly through a swarm and it's just splat, 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 and the windscreen is covered, and you have to get it clean before you can go anywhere. It's yeah, it is amazing. MB has a Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS. What do you think of that? Yep, that's what I use the HOTAS for. Is what I've got the one for PlayStation 4. I have some issues with it. Andy H1302, I believe, I hope I got that name right, on the Discord, has got some great tips for me for how to set it up properly so that the middle detent is used for the Airbus. But yeah, I think the throttle is just too loose, but otherwise it's got lots of buttons, it's got a thrust lever and a joystick, so yeah, it's pretty good for that. I like having so many buttons on it that I can set for the flaps and things like that. It does creak a lot. I think that's just mine, but mine does creak a lot, like it needs some oil. Right, let's keep descending down towards the islands now. Back to 100 knots, a bit fast, but there we go. Colleague of mine started at 43, says Robert737. So there you go, good to know. Yeah, absolutely. Ollie's done many bird strike inspections of the 320 recently. Had one stuck in the landing gear and down. Oh dear. That's not going to be very pleasant to find, I'm sure. Yeah, well, in summer or anywhere you go, you can find birds, yeah, that can cause this issue. Oh, fantastic. Let's see if we can get a good one here. I've got loads of these to choose for our highlight reel. Right, so Skiathos, what can I tell you about Skiathos? I had written some pointless facts, although I couldn't find too many. Obviously, it's a big holiday destination. Population is quite low at 6,600 people. But it has over 60 sandy beaches built all around it, so that's why it's a very popular tourist destination. Right, I'm going to take out the autopilot now and let's get ourselves a bit closer. Autopilot off. Flight directors off. So, sorry guys, it's going to be a bit harder to follow now. But I'm going to fly down the runway and then we'll just do a little circle around the island before coming into land. So yeah, so it's this way as well. Without the autopilot, I can finally just I'll trim the airplane for a speed and then use power to adjust my altitude. So that will hopefully mean we keep a more constant speed. So the town is just at the nose here. And then you've got the airport right there. And then it's got, yeah, loads of big sandy beaches, which makes it a really popular sort of holiday place. I imagine some of you probably been there on holiday. Don't use WD-40 on your HOTAS. I've tried it and the sound was even worse. Okay, good to know, Alex. Thanks. I won't try that. Okay, a few people's creek as well, Joseph says. Yeah, interesting. And Darian, yeah, Bumblebee at 10,000 feet. It's amazing, isn't it? I don't know what they're doing up there, but yeah, it does happen. Fire Zappy says the fly-by-wire team watches your videos for feedback. Yeah, the fly-by-wire team have been quite active. They've some members on my Discord as well. It's great to have the channel of communication with them, and we all tell them, you know, they know they're doing great work, but it's always good to get to chat to them about it. And yeah, it's great that they watch the videos, because they've typically, the few things I have said, they've picked up on and fixed almost by the next update, which is just great. How are you guys doing? Are people getting tired? I imagine they are by now, doing all this flying. MB says, what are the specs of your computer? So if you put in exclamation mark specs, it should say it. But I can tell you it is an i7-10700K, although I haven't overclocked it. It's just stock. It's a RTX 2060 Super and a 32GB set of RAM. I also run it on an SSD, but I don't know if that makes much difference here. Right, here we go. So this is the runway you can see. So yeah, you've got that really close threshold. So when the jets come in, I'm screaming overhead there. It makes for a lot of fun to view. And this is the main town. I'm sure it's a lovely town. I must come and visit this place. Hopefully when in the future, when lockdown and things are a thing of the past, hopefully we'll be able to come back and enjoy it. Although I think you can travel there now from the UK, I think. Right, I'm just going to set it a bit lighter so we can see the islands. Maybe we'll spot some of the beaches. There we go, nice pleasant evening over in the warm. How are we doing on the group? Everyone's still here? Look at that. I'm amazed so many of you stuck out. I mean, we've been going for how long? 1 hour 40, and I imagine the pre-flight was only about 5 minutes. So I hope you guys that were here at the beginning enjoyed the music. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play that outro music again at the not the outro music. I'm going to play the live version of my theme that Fly24 did. I'll play it again at the end. So if anyone wants to stick around and listen to that, it's about 6 minute long, the track, but it's really great. And yeah, I'll just play that at the end of the stream to finish off. Yeah, lots of vegetation around here. I imagine most people head straight out to the beaches when they arrive in Skiathos. That's certainly what I would do. There you go, look at that. That must be lovely down there. Hello to Sweet Aviation. Hope you're doing well. MB, I'm glad you joined the Discords. Atomic Flight Simulation, hello. Games Dude says, just bumped into your video. Is there or will there be a shortage of airline pilots due to the training needed? I have no idea. But if there was a shortage before the pandemic, I can't. There definitely isn't a shortage at the moment. Will there be a shortage in future? Probably one day. When will it be? It could be years away. It's hard to say because a lot of airlines have made pilots redundant. So there's a lot of experienced pilots waiting for jobs, and they'll be ready, and they'll probably be the first employed after all this. Now I think this is a beach that you can see, and look at that. There's a spectacular rock formation here. I think I've seen this on the internet. It looks stunning, and that turquoise water with the white sand must be beautiful. Yeah, that'd be a really nice place to come. I wonder how you get there. Maybe you have to take a boat. There are plenty of Greek beaches where you have to take boats to get to them. Our pit special Any Bubbles is still doing well. Love it. It's a shame there's no one here just flying in normally, and then we came along. Oh, look at that. Stunning. Yeah. MB, goodbye. Free Aviation, if you go to the West Europe server, we're almost finished, but if you go to the West Europe server and make sure you have all players selected to visible, then you'll be able to just see us at Skiathos. Alex Barton says the fly-by-wire mod had big update for the master version 20 hours ago. They fixed some sounds. Yes, I saw Boris, he's commented in our Discord that there's some sounds have been worked on, so I will be trying that out soon. And of course, when version 0.5 comes out, I will definitely be trying that. Artest, join the Discord. Excellent. Lots of helpful people on the Discord, many of which are here today. But yeah, if you have questions and so on, they're often there to help. Right. Yeah, not much on the island. I can see why the town has about 6,000 population. I wonder where all the hotels are. I haven't seen many big hotels here. Probably quite a nice thing not to have too many huge hotels around. I think what we'll do is we'll just cut around the end of the island. Yeah, Flight of the Valkyrie says Games Dude for the the fleet behind us. Yeah, absolutely. Matteo Chewy right on our tail there. Well done, Matteo. Tango Delta, Mighty Mackerel. Yeah, excellent. Especially as now I'm just sort of playing around back down at 80 knots. As we said in the stream last time, flying right into the sun is always difficult. The Airbus won't have much chance now keeping up with us. Or slowing down, keeping down with us. Malaria's 85. Can you do a video about rudder inputs at some time? Yeah, rudder inputs. Okay, interesting. Thanks for the suggestion. I'll see what I can do in the future, yeah. Right, let's bank left now. Let's get ourselves back round to our final touchdown. How are we doing on fuel? I know we emptied that tank. Oh, there's a bit of fuel appeared. Is that because I'm banking? I don't know. How was it going in this one? Still got 10 gallons. Oh, fine, fine. Swarm of bumblebees, yep. Yeah, so rudder inputs is an interesting one. I want to sort out the sensitivity in Microsoft, certainly, but I think the rudder input sensitivity in the Toliss in X-Plane is excellent. It feels very good. There's a quarry. Yeah, lovely. I also meant to change the registration to a Greek registration, but we still have our Italian one from our Italian flights. So there you go, we'll adjust that in future. Simfire UK had to leave. PC just died. Oh dear, I do apologise. Well, I'm sorry to hear it, put it that way. But yeah, I'm relieved that my PC's managed it so far. We had a few scares, a few freezes. Okay, so let's start getting ourselves down. Let's get down to 1,000 feet again, like I said I would be earlier on. Get that speed back, because we know it takes a bit longer to slow down than I always think it will. And we're going to land. Oh, excuse me. That's not right. Get that thrust right back. I've gone to idle. I'm just checking out the charts. I've got the parking chart. We're going to land and then vacate off to the left and go and find a stand. Excellent. Right. Let's get that speed trimmed out, because if you just take the power off like I did there, you'll just get the nose drop. Going to keep heading out to sea, slowing right down. I didn't even get around to all my facts of this plane. If you go to the website for the Cub X Crafter, yeah, you configure it. You can choose your paint options. You can choose what extras you want, just like a car. It's yeah, it's really amazing. I wish I had the ability to do that. But yeah, it's about, like I say, over $300,000. Okay, let's get that power back. We've got prop max. Mixture is rich. That seems pretty good. First stage of flap out. We are obviously high on a 3-degree profile, but that won't be an issue for us today in our little Cub. I think we'll just do 2 notches of flap for this one. It's a long runway. Don't need to land with all the flap today. If we were doing some bush flying, we could. There's Matteo cruising in ahead. 500. Imagine, that sounds like a radio altimeter. I can't imagine this airplane has a radio altimeter built in. I'll be very impressed if it does. Let's keep that speed coming back. I want 2 whites, 2 reds. Looking good. I'm thinking around 55 knots, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, sorry everyone. I've made that really difficult for you. You might hear my joystick creaking away now. Right, landing seats. There we go. I do like this view. I think it's much better because the default views are so high. Got lightning up ahead. Right, I can I basically can't see the runway now. No problem. No problem. Right over that beach. There we go. So all the people down there waving. And hold it there. Hold it there. Kick off the drift with the rudder. Oh, rudder is very... I need to get it sorted out. It's still so twitchy. Okay, and I'm not going to use any brake because I don't want to tip over onto the nose. And there we go. We have made it to Skiathos. Which takes me all the way back to, yeah, like I say, to my one of my very first streams. Well, thank you guys for all coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm chuffed to bits that so many people managed to make it, and despite the update issue we had, where obviously that was just perfect timing, wasn't it? But still, these things happen, and thank you all for taking the time to come along and putting the effort into flying along for so long. You guys have done amazingly well. I know it's hard work flying in formation with anyone, especially when I'm just sort of cruising around randomly. So yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to do it. There'll be more streams to come. We're going to be streaming the Airbus in X-Plane 11. We'll also stream more Microsoft Flight Simulator flights. I don't know when I'll stream the Airbus in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's something for the future. But for now, you can expect more. Ooh, sorry. You can expect more Microsoft Flight Simulator videos and tutorials on the channel. We'll be looking at different updates and some other things like the lights. I want to get a video out on that. I know that's been requested. Right, where is there space for us all to park? I'm going to go down to the end. You guys can park wherever. I'll just keep moving out of the way as best I can. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bye, yes, Papa. Thanks for your work on the Discord again. Howard, see you later. Jahir. Yeah, it is the rudder. It is sensitive. Jahir. Fire up battery. Yeah, I think we did all right with the landing. I think we did all right. Okay, I'm going to get myself squeezed in over here. We made it just before nightfall. Everyone's following. Look at that grass, but that's no problem for us. Right, I'm going to park up here, I think. Right on the edge. Okay, parking brake is set. Right. What do we need to do to turn this this thing off? How much fuel did we land with in the end? Yeah, there we go. Loads. Right, perhaps at 0. Let's get the lights off. Pass lights off. And typically... God, I can't remember now. Would it be mixture or magnetos off? I think it's mixture. Let's get the engine to drain the fuel. There it is. Oh, no, and leave that off. And the ignition goes off. There we go. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And look at that. Fantastic. Glorious. Let's take another last screenshot. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you, Richard V, for working so hard. 10th of May, says Richard V, was the first Skiathos stream. Yeah, time does fly. I can't believe it. And I can't believe where the channel is now. And thank you to all of you for your support, and to those of you who've been here right from the start, including Richard V and Matteo. 1.5 hour formation flying. Yeah, I bet, Matteo. That must have been hard work. And DG27, yeah, Mythos. Mythos is the one of the beers. Alpha is another local beer in Greece, used a lot, but both delicious, absolutely. It is a busy ramp for German aviation. Atomic, absolutely. Thank you to those of you who've donated. Thank you for flying. Thank you for moderating, to the moderators, and thank you everyone for coming along and watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to play that intro music again now, but that will be just over the thumbnail. So if you want to stick around and just soak it in, you are very welcome to. Otherwise, we'll see you on another video soon on the channel or another live stream. Thank you very much. Keep safe. Bye bye.